Do it. Hi, so in today's session, we're going to be going over the OpenPath product. So to kick things off, we're looking at a couple of different things here. So you'll notice I have the mobile app here, and you'll notice it is just my phone, and I'm sharing the OpenPath app on it, just displaying it on the screen. You'll notice that I have actually a lot of doors, in which, because I have so many, I favorite the ones that I use on a more occasional basis. I also have the OpenPath dashboard here, which is our cloud-based control center, controlled at openpath.com. And then I have the hardware right here. And just for reference, I am sitting right here, and we do have the mobile app just up and running right here as well. So all of this information is presented just right at this moment. So the first thing that I like to show is, in general, how the mobile app experience works. So you'll notice the demo case I am sitting right next to it. That is denoted by the blue pin you'll see lit up here, along with the fact that, as mentioned, I am sitting right next to it. It is being shown here. So if I wanted to open the case through the mobile app, it's as simple as just pressing the button, and you'll see it go ahead and open right then and there. Very easy to do. Once again, to show that, you just simply click the unlock, and you'll see on the spot it's able to open. If we were to pull that back here, what you'll notice if I go to open demo case 1, and I click to open, it unlocks on the spot everything opening in real time with the user that did it and the time and date stamp of when it happened. So everything is happening in real time, and it's very easy to see as it's occurring. Now, what's very special about the OpenPath experience is that you actually don't even need the mobile app open as you're doing it. So one thing you'll notice, if I take my phone and just simply close it out, I'm able to just walk up and just simply touch the reader, at which point that'll go ahead and open the door for you. So you don't need to have your phone open. It just simply needs to be on your person, in your pocket, in your backpack, in your purse. And when your phone gets within range, you're able to open it. Taken as far back as to say, you don't even need the app open on the phone. Just by simply doing that, once again closing it, you can still just walk up and touch it, and it's able to recognize the app in the background of your phone. And then you'll see here that touch was what opened the door. So you'll see here by that notification. So very nice end user experience. From there, you also have the ability to remotely unlock a door. So you'll notice that I'm out of range of certain doors, such as the rear and side entry. So you'll notice by that gray pin. If I wanted to open one of those doors, no problem at all. It's as simple as going like this. You would just press the button, at which point it's going to prompt you. Do you want to do that? It is a security risk. Yeah, absolutely no problem. I'm going to go ahead and do so. And you'll see once again it opens in real time. And once again, it is me that opened it. All happening instantaneously. So it's very, very fast. So once again, just to show that, you just simply press on it, and it would unlock. Very, very easy. This is a configurable permission by you. You don't need to grant it to everybody, but you do have the ability to administer the remote unlock capabilities to whoever you see fit. And then the last thing, the mobile app that I like to show, is the guest pass capabilities. So once again, this is a configurable permission. You don't need to give it to everybody, but you have the ability to share one-time access with a vendor or a contractor, maybe somebody coming for an interview, where they simply just go ahead and select the one-time link, where, as you can see here, let's imagine Bob is coming to the office for one day. He needs access for this time to this date, and then he would just simply go ahead and send that. So you can configure the time and the date. You don't need to create this individual a credential. They don't need to download the mobile app. You're just simply going to share access with them for a set period of time. So in this example, I'm just going to go ahead and text it to myself, where you'll see here I'm just going to quickly send a link, at which point I'm going to go ahead and send a text message. Any moment now, I'll be receiving a text from myself that I'll be able to open in my phone's browser. So if you see here, it's just as simple as clicking to open it. And then this end user, instead of needing to download the OpenPath app, they're just simply able to unlock the door by clicking to unlock. So it's a very seamless end user experience from that perspective. So the guest pass capability is very functional to that extent. Once again, same as remote unlock, you don't need to give this access to everybody, only the people that you believe would need it in any scenario. That does it for the mobile app. So to continue on, we also have our hardware dashboard. So while you can see everything happening in real time from the software perspective, we also are able to monitor all of the hardware from the cloud. So if we look at this, for example, you'll see a lot of items offline as well as online. We have a lot of different pieces moving here. So if we want to take a look at just the general ACU, the access control unit for our office, you'll notice a couple things. One, that it is completely connected by a cloud, by your local area network. and we have 3 readers that are currently connected. You have the ability to configure 4 to it, but we've selected 3 in this scenario, in which you can see here the lobby, the side door, and the rear door are all available. With the latest software version, you even get it down as far as the temperature of the reader itself. So a lot of really great data that you can gather right from here. This is extremely beneficial as in a lot of scenarios, you don't have the ability to see this information. If your system goes down on a just different, maybe local system, you might not know what the issue is. This allows you to kind of triage everything from the beginning, understand where those issues occur, and potentially stop them before needing to call an installer and pay for a site visitor, who knows where, and go to customer support to try to solve that. You can be your own first line of defense. And then also just a couple other nice features, you have the ability to even identify the reader at the door. Just by simply clicking identify on this, it'll put a little LED into the reader itself, and you're able to recognize if it's the person there. So somebody gets locked out of the building, they call you, they don't know which door they're at, you ask for a description, you can actually ping each reader, figure out which one they're at, get their security code X, Y, and Z, and then you're able to remotely unlock the door for them and let them in. So you're able to go ahead and administer it in a lot of different ways, and this makes it extremely powerful. So that would be the hardware dashboard. From there, everything that we just did, we could actually analyze through here. So if we wanted to take the time and the date, and let's just say, let's go to 3:59, so we get the exact time that we're at right now, we're able to see everything that I've done throughout this demo so far. So you'll see here the cloud key that I shared, which was that guest access link. I shared it with Bob, and I shared it on the rear entry in which I was able to remotely open the door. You're also able to see that I did a lot of different mobile unlocks that were able to open the doors, and you'll see the different doors that I opened. But just in general, what you can see here is your time, your date, the user who opened the door, how they did it, as well as if they were to use a badge. We do fully support badges, and so we do have the ability to see that in this portal, in this report as well. Everything here is also, you can break on a time and a date, and it's all exportable via CSV. So you get all that information just delivered to you very nicely and easily. Because it's a cloud-based system, we do store all of this data for you as well, so you can pull it at any point. From there, you do have the ability to break your doors out in a variety of ways. So if we wanted to, you could see here the activity that I've had over a set period of time. So you'll see I've opened these different doors over the past 24 hours. And once again, you have the ability to configure the time and the date as well, and go from there. And so that's a very nice report that's very easy to pull. From there, you also have the ability to break it out by door. So for example, if we wanted to look at just the rear entry, for example, you can gather a lot of nice information just from this, where as you can see all of the different individuals that have come and gone from a door over a set period of time. So it could be a very powerful report. And then lastly, you have the ability to break these reports out in a lot of different ways. So if you wanted to get the information on maybe just the side entry for a set period of time, you can gather different sorts of summaries to maybe give you, peak hours or times that people are coming and going, different instances such as that. So you can see here, we have a lot of people that come and go between the hours of 9 and 11, when people show up in the morning and people go to lunch. So different little nice reports that you're able to pull. So that would do it for the reporting. We do try to keep it very simple and intuitive here. So moving into the next step, we'd like to talk about user management. So you can manage users in a lot of different ways. The first being point and click. So to leverage mobile, all you need is an email address. So once you have that email address from the person, you're able to administer them a credential. So you would input their email, their first and their last name, at which point then you can go ahead and build out their profile to look something like this. Picture is optional, don't worry about that, but you can make their status active. You can make them a super admin in this portal, which means they have the ability to do administrative work within this portal as well. And then from there, you can assign credentials. So for example, I have a phone, a cloud key, which is the guest access pass, and then I have a couple of different badges that I use. So all this is available, and then you'll see here that I actually have access to a couple different doors. And you'll notice that all of these doors are grayed out. I was automatically granted access to these doors because I'm associated with groups. So if you wanted to, you can even break people out into groups. Highly recommended, as it allows you to do a lot of these actions in bulk. So you'll see here, this group of users is associated with this door. So you have the ability to kind of do this at a bit more scale. You can create the users and you can go about that. Now let's say you have 100 employees. Creating users one by one might be an insurmountable task and might take a very long time. So you have the ability to break it out, and you can go ahead and do so via just simply importing a CSV file, an Excel file. So if you're able to gather everyone's information, put it all in a spreadsheet, you can just simply upload it. That'll grant everybody access, in which on this spreadsheet you can require that they all get a mobile credential, that they're all associated with groups, and that it just goes from there. So importing a CSV is a great measure as well. And then the preferred measure that a lot of people seem to like is integrating with your identity provider, which is your directory service that your office uses. So for example, if your company sends emails via Gmail or Office 365, or you all use Okta for single sign-on, you have the ability to integrate OpenPath with that instance. So let's just take G Suite as an example. You have 100 employees. And let's even say that you break these employees out into groups. So you use the grouping features of G Suite or Active Directory or Okta. What this will do, just by simply clicking connect, it'll bring over all of your employees that have a company email address, assign them a mobile credential, and now let's imagine you use the grouping features. You can even map them to groups. What this is going to do, it's going to automatically bring them over and assign them a mobile credential, as well as only the doors in which they need access to. So in the example of you have 4 doors, 3 of which everybody has access to. Let's just imagine they're perimeter doors. And then 1 door that's an IT closet. You only want your IT team and people with higher levels of security clearance to have access. You would just go ahead and break it out as such. In G Suite or Active Directory, you may have it broken out by IT department, your general employees, et cetera, and then you just simply map them to these groups, and then it's all automated for you. So everybody just gets brought over, they get assigned a mobile credential, and only access to the doors they need. It's that simple. Now let's say you get a couple of new employees. Company standard is you grant them a mobile credential. Okay, great. And so what you're going to do is you're just going to go ahead and create an email address for them. They get automatically brought into OpenPath. It's as simple as that. We run a sync every hour. Now, on the opposite end of things, you need to let these employees go. What's probably company standard again is removing their email or suspending it or deleting it, one of the two. In which in this scenario, they just simply get removed from the OpenPath system. It gets automatically synced every hour. Very simple to do. So now let's talk about this and just take a step back. You sync with G Suite, you sync with Active Directory or Okta. It brings everybody over, it automatically assigns them a mobile credential, and you've mapped them to groups. You're good to go, everybody has a credential. Your whole rollout plan is now just, hey everyone, download the OpenPath app, it's as easy as that. And then you hire and fire people and you do things as you normally would. You would manage them all as you already do, and OpenPath just runs alongside your current process. So you're saving a ton of time just by going with the mobile credentials. So very easy to do from there. And then lastly, you can put your user groups on a schedule as well. We're going to talk about how you'll go ahead and put your doors on schedules, your 9 to 5s, your Monday to Fridays, et cetera, et cetera. But what's really nice is, let's imagine you have a cleaning crew. This cleaning crew comes between the hours of 6 p.m. and 6 a.m., and you don't want them to have access outside of that period of time. So you go ahead and create a cleaning crew group, you give them a few badges, and then it's just as simple as saying, I don't want you to have access outside of the hours of 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., Monday through Friday. From there, you would create that schedule, and then this group will only be able to access those doors during that period of time. So it's very simple to administer in that sense. And from there, that really wraps it up for user management. So it's very easy to administer users, and you have a lot of possibilities to go ahead and automate your whole process, removing what takes a very large period of time for you to currently do with your legacy system. So from there, I want to talk about sites. So just to kick things off, we like to think of things in a hierarchy where the site sits at the top of this pyramid. From there, one step below, you have your zones, which are groups of doors. And then at the bottom of this hierarchy, you have the entries themselves. So if you'll see here, we have 5 different sites. So what's a big benefit to going with a cloud-based system is the ability to administer multiple sites, multiple locations, all from one pane of glass, from one web interface that you see here. Instead of needing to go and manage disparate systems at every single place, or going through crazy network configurations and firewalls, and it's very expensive and time consuming just to make things work from one central portal. This is just out of the box with OpenPath. So you'll see here we have our 5 different sites. From there, we have our zones, which as mentioned is groups of doors. So let's go back to this example of your perimeter doors in your IT closet. Your perimeter doors you want everybody to have access to. Your IT closet, only the IT team. So how would you go about doing that? You would create 2 zones. Your first zone would be your general office zone, or whatever you might want to call it, in which we already have it set up with 3 doors. Let's just imagine maybe we want the storage closet in there. Oh wait, maybe we don't want the rear entry in there. Or maybe we want all of these doors. whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's very easy to configure. Create that group of doors and assign it to a group of users. As you can see, you have the ability to do here, as well as from the group management page. Now let's say you want that second zone to only be containing the IT closet, in which the only people that are going to have access to that is one group that we call, I don't know, maybe just the test group. So now this group is the only group of people, as well as these users, that have access to this IT closet. So you can break it out as such, and then now you have your different groups and you have your different zones of doors. And then you can easily go ahead and create those security levels, and people who need access to the doors get them. Everyone else just simply has access to only the doors that they would need. So it's very easy to administer from that perspective. And then at the bottom of this hierarchy, you have the actual entry points themselves. We say entry points because you can go ahead and do it for doors. That's a given. Turnstiles, elevators, parking garages, you name it. If it opens and there's wires running from it, we can work with it. Very simple. So if we want to just take the IT closet, for example, here's what you get. Your basic information. So you have the IT closet. This is the name that shows up in the app. The zone that it's associated with, which I just showed you above. The ACU, the access control unit, your smart hub that it gets associated with. From there, you have your entry behavior. So this is an interesting feature. You have the ability to select how strict you would like your door to be. From a convenience mode, where any factor of authentication is going to open the door. What a factor of authentication means. So just by simply walking up and touching the reader, that's one factor of authentication. So you can get in just via touch from the mobile app, from a badge, from a cloud key, a guest pass, you name it. If you have access to the door, you can open the door using this convenience mode, but it's going to stay locked. Now let's say after business hours, you want a stricter, more secure feeling environment. So what you have the ability to do is enable strict security. This is going to enable two-factor authentication on the doors. What two-factor authentication means is now you need to leverage the biometrics of your mobile device first. You need to unlock it, whether it be a fingerprint, a face ID, a PIN code, at which point then you have the ability to get into the door. And then you can do it via touch or however you see fit. So strict security, you'll see here, mobile 2FA over BLE. So it's mobile two-factor authentication over Bluetooth low energy. Mobile 2FA near the reader over Wi-Fi. Mobile 2FA near reader over cloud. Those are the ways that you can get in. You need to unlock your phone first and then get in via Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or your phone's mobile network. And then you can also go ahead and create a security state for whatever you see fit. We've had a use case where a customer, they wanted only the ability to open the door if they're by the reader and connected to Wi-Fi and unlock their phone. Great. In the instance of the internet going out, they would be locked out, but you have the ability to configure this however you see fit. So mobile 2FA near the reader over Wi-Fi, and then you would save it as such to meet your security requirements. And you could break that out however you see fit. And then you would go ahead, bring that back to a door. So now let's say on a default, I want my IT closet to sit in a convenience mode. And you would go ahead and set it as such. From there, you have your entry and exit hardware. These are your magnetic locks, your electric strikes, whatever they might be. And then you'll see here, you would go ahead and configure it to the relay port, and then you can define how long you would like it to stay open for once it's been opened. We say when you touch the reader, it's going to stay open for 5 seconds after that, but you can configure that for whatever time you see fit. And then you have the OpenPath reader, which is a very interesting feature. This, you have the ability to actually configure how close or how far away your phone can be from the reader to where they talk to each other. From far, which is however far your phone's Bluetooth antenna can span. And this varies from phone to phone. An old iPhone 5 is going to have a much weaker Bluetooth antenna to a brand new iPhone X, XS, XR, whatever you want. So it's going to range by phone. It's also going to range by environment. If you step into an elevator cab, it's only going to span as far as that steel box and no farther, no matter how far you put it. But this also breaks all the way down to however close you want to see it, to near, which is virtually the same thing as Apple Pay, where you need to walk up and physically touch your phone to the reader to make it open. And then everything in between. And you get to configure that range to whatever you see fit and whatever is comfortable for your office's environment. Unlock. So we like to think of this in the use case of an elevator. Let's say you walk into the elevator, there's access controlled floors. You go ahead, instead of needing to touch the reader and then touch the floor, just by simply getting within the range in which I just talked about, you just simply get within range and the reader unlocks, at which point you can select the floor you want access to. This could also be extremely valuable in a turnstile environment. We don't typically recommend this for if every mess up reporting, no good. We don't recommend for doors, but that's just our recommendation. Do as you see fit. And then from there, you have your request to exits, your contact sensors. You'll notice here the ajar feature. So we actually have the ability to go ahead and configure alerts. So in the example of someone leaves a door swung ajar, you can say after 30 seconds, or hey, you can even say after 15 minutes, if the door has been left open, I want to be notified as such. And you can be notified via email, text message, or Slack. Same thing with forced open detection. In the event of someone pushing the door open without the access control doing the job, so you're pushing through the electric strike, you're using a metal key to open the door, it's triggering the contact sensor, but the access control system didn't open it. Once again, you can be alerted of such. And then lastly, we have your Wiegand devices. So in an example where maybe you need a PIN code reader at the door, you could actually go ahead and leverage Wiegand readers, legacy readers, that allow you to use other readers at the door and leverage this cloud-based system. Now, you're going to lose a lot of the OpenPath features, such as touch, a lot of the mobile interactions, but there are use cases where you may need to use an older reader, and you have the ability to simply configure that from here. And then lastly, you have the ability to put your door on a schedule. So let's say you want Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you want your door unlocked, or maybe you want your door in a convenience mode. You just simply set it. It's as easy as that. You don't need to be a computer programmer. You just simply create an event. Now let's say maybe you want a different schedule for after hours. From 5:01 p.m. to 8:59 a.m., you maybe want your door in stricter modes of security. So you want to leverage two-factor authentication. People go home. You want the people that are staying in the office to feel like they're in a more secure environment. So you can enable those different schedules, and now you have your schedule. And at any point where there isn't a calendar set, it's going to default to whatever you put as your default state. And then lastly, you have your one-time events. So in the event of, there's a holiday, or who knows what is coming up, but you need to change the state of your door to something not on the recurring schedule, you can very easily do so. So on March 13th, I'm just using this as an example, we want the office locked down and nobody has the ability to get in. So from there, you would just simply prioritize that to the top. And at the point in which this date rolled around, now this is the state that would take place at the office. So it's very easy to configure your schedules as such. So that would be it for your door schedules, and that would be it for the physical portion of this. Just a couple last pieces that I'll note. Within the integrations tab, we also do integrate with other fine items such as Slack. So you could type commands into Slack and have them open the door. Very fun things you could do around the office, as well as the Zapier marketplace. So for anyone that's not familiar with Zapier, it's a middleware. You have the ability to integrate our app with any other app in Zapier, making this a very powerful tool, allowing you to integrate it across the board with a lot of different apps that are just across it. There's thousands of apps within Zapier. And then a couple other pieces. To go ahead and set your alerts, you just simply do it from this page. So here's the entry ajar feature that I mentioned. Entry unlock failure, as well as forced open, is all just from here. And then just the last thing that I'll note prior to ending this meeting is your release notes. We're constantly rolling out new updates to this platform. And as a part of the package, they're yours. So just by being an OpenPath customer, you get everything as they come out. And as you can see, we're rolling out stuff every couple of days. So feel free to check back in on this and see what's coming, as well as reach out to your account manager, and we're happy to help explain any new features that are there. And thank you for your time.